Hello, everybody. I failed to buy a race helmet. Chris is buried under 3 foot of snow, and Caitlin has a broken heater. And you are listening to this week's episode of the Motorsport Recently Show. Guys, welcome along.
My camera is not staying in position. I'm struggling with it, but I will get there eventually. Hi, guys.
Caitlin is experiencing an earthquake to start off this week's episode. How is everybody this week?
Cold. I'm wearing two jumpers, as you might be able to see. The heating in my house has broken. So yeah. But I'm hoping to move out soon, so hopefully I won't have to put up with this much for much longer.
You'll hopefully get to move somewhere a bit warmer. Chris, how are you this week, aside from being buried under snow?
Well, there is a monster lizard that is ravaging our area.
Oh, blizzard.
A lizard, yes. The bee's out on the printer. If you know, you know.
Face to face with Godzilla again, mate.
It's Canadian rhyming slang. I didn't know that was a thing.
Remember, the bee is out on the printer. So it's
Sure.
Monster Blizzard.
Your brain needs to be studied. I don't. Sometimes the scientific study into Chris Whitfield. Anyway, I should mention. Hopefully by next week there should be a different helmet on that stand just behind me, as I was meant to buy a new race helmet yesterday to replace my current karting helmet. That's, of course, if you're watching on the video feed, you'll be able to see that, because I'm currently using an RJ's helmet. That is not an RJ's helmet. That is the helmet that I had before then. And I had my heart set on a new Bell helmet that I was going to hopefully
Helmet,
have.
if you will.
A Belmet, yeah, there you go. And I was going
A
to
Ray
put the
Belmet.
I was going to put the RJ's helmet there, and because basically I had a whole plan yesterday. What I was going to do, I was going go-karting last night with some friends. So what I was going to do was I was going to go to a kart shop near the track, so I could go and buy myself a new helmet for a new season of kart racing, then head over to the track afterwards. This was all in the afternoon anyway, so my plan was to get to the kart shop before the kart shop closed at 5 o'clock, and then make my way over to the track. Probably get there a bit early, work on this week's show, and then basically go karting. However, what I've learned is that you should never drive anywhere in Sydney past 2:30 p.m. or when I left my house at about 3:17. Otherwise, your relatively short drive will take an hour and a half. So I did not make it to the kart shop. Was very well. I eventually did get to the go-kart track, but did not manage to spend very much time working on the things I wanted to work on. And then went go-karting anyway, which is very nice. And I realise that is a completely irrelevant story, but that's why there isn't a new helmet there, and there hopefully will be one next week. Okay, we should actually cover some racing news, if everybody is ready to go.
Well, yeah, just quickly. So, they didn't sell you a racing helmet because you were too slow to get there. Doesn't that mean they just didn't believe in you? They were like, if you're too slow to get here, we're not going to sell you a helmet. You're clearly not going to represent us well.
Okay, right, I realise that it's a monumental tangent, and we should get into the news this week, because we are starting off with some WEC team and driver news, because we are approaching the beginning of the new WEC season, and I suspect that there'll be a WEC season preview within the next couple of weeks. We have some team and driver news. Actually, we have some news related to the Qatar 812. Does anyone want to enlighten us on the entry list news?
Yes, there are 18 entries in Hypercar and 18 entries in GT3. Some of the notable ones. We have Phil Hansen actually taking over the number 83 Ferrari from Bobby Schwartzy, who is going to the IndyCar, as it were. And what I can see, there's an even split in the WEC entry list, and there's another story about the Qatar 1812, which we will get to in our usual segment later on.
Miscellaneous section. Yes.
The miscellaneous stories and points that we missed, and therefore coming TM, now TM Bing. Yes.
Well, it's actually miscellaneous stories and points that we missed and are therefore covering later in the show, TM Bing. That would be the name of that section. In this particular instance...
Let's not get pedantic now.
Right, 8 minutes in, we've covered one story. Fantastic.
Yes.
Good. Right, so we've got some team and driver announcements that have happened. Hertz Team Jota have revealed their lineups for their 2 Cadillacs for this year in the World Endurance Championship. So the number 12 car will be driven by Alex Lynn, Norman Nato, and Will Stevens, and the number 36 car, is it 36? No, 38 car, sorry, will be driven by Earl Bamber, Sebastian Bourdais, and Jenson Button. This is, of course, all in line with Jota's switch to Cadillac for this season. They were previously a customer Porsche 963 team, and a lot of this lineup is essentially a combination between drivers that were part of the previous Chip Ganassi run Cadillac program and drivers that were part of the previous Jota campaign as well. So Alex Lynn, obviously part of the old Cadillac program, Norman Nato, a bit of a sports car ace that's come up in the last couple of years, and Will Stevens, ex-F1 driver and also a Jota driver as well. Earl Bamber, Cadillac factory driver, as I believe was Sebastian Bourdais as well, and the 2009 Formula One world champion, Jenson Button, who has also been doing quite a bit of racing for Jota in the last couple of years.
And one of the notable replacements for it, one of the notable departures was, of course, Callum Ilott, who is going to be a teammate to Robert Schwartzman in the Prema IndyCar in 2025. And he was actually one of the winning team when they won at Spa last year. The 12, I think, might actually score more points than the 38, or unless, of course, they lift the Bourdais curse, which whenever Seabass is in a car, it tends to have the cartoon anvil, as Marshall Pruitt would refer to it, strike down and kill their chances. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but this is a very solid lineup, and the livery is just... I'm
a huge fan of the Jota livery, actually. I will miss it on the Porsche, especially with the Singer sponsorship. I thought it looked fantastic on the side of the 963, especially the sort of likeness that certain parts of it had to a Porsche 911. I thought that looked fantastic. But I think what Jota know is that while they were able to be competitive as a customer 963 program, I think Jota are really, really focused on winning outright. And I think they understand that realistically the only way that they're going to be consistently up the front is with a factory program, and obviously Cadillac has become available as a prospective factory program, so they're obviously sort of going down that route. And I'll be interested to see how the Cadillacs do under the stewardship of Jota in the Weckety Weck, as Marshall Pruitt would also call it.
Yes, and all we know is until we see the BOP tables, we'll get a clearer picture of who's the favorites, who are the dark horses, and who is in deep, deep trouble, as Derek Daly would say.
The Motorsport Recently Show, a combination of things other people say, all compiled in one place. Very good. Anyway, that is kind of the Hertz Jota lineup. Should we move on to the other set of driver announcements that have happened this week? And I have a decent amount to say on this next one, actually.
Go on then.
Okay, so Iron Lynx have announced their Mercedes GT3 lineup for the FIA World Endurance Championship as well. So the number 60 car is an all-Italian lineup and also a commentator's nightmare. And this is basically the Iron Lynx lineup because basically everyone on this particular car have all been part of Iron Lynx previously, and they've all been brought together under this one lineup. So this car is going to be driven by Matteo Cairoli, Matteo Cressoni, and Claudio Schiavone. I was fighting for my life through that sentence. And the 61 car will be driven by Lynn Hodenius, Maxime Martin, and Christian Reed. We mentioned Christian Reed was joining this team a couple of weeks ago. But now it has now been confirmed who he'll also be driving with. The 2 liveries for these cars were also revealed, which I think both look fantastic.
Well, as a commentator, I wouldn't say that an all-Italian lineup is a
No,
commentator's
I wouldn't say
nightmare.
it's a nightmare. It's the fact that they all have similar names.
I would say it's a commentator's dream. Like, it just rolls off the tongue, you know? Matteo Cairoli, Matteo Cressoni, Claudio Schiavone. It's so fun.
So, Matteo Cairoli, Matteo Cressoni, and Claudio Schiavone, all very similar names, but different drivers. As I mentioned, all of these drivers are effectively Iron Lynx drivers. They've all been a part of the team for a little while, even when they were racing with different manufacturers. The 61 car is a bit of an interesting one. I don't think any of these drivers were part of Iron Lynx previously. So Maxime Martin, obviously now a Mercedes factory driver, moving over from BMW, first year at the 3-pointed star. And he, of course, finds himself in the World Endurance Championship. Christian Reed returning to full-time competition in the World Endurance Championship as well.
As God intended.
As God intended. I think you said that a couple of weeks ago as well. There is one that is an interesting addition to this lineup, and that's Lynn Hodenius. I had never heard of Lynn Hodenius before this, and that's not entirely unsurprising considering he actually didn't have a Wikipedia article before. Well, actually, he still doesn't have a Wikipedia article even after joining this lineup. He is an 18-year-old Italian Formula 4 driver from the Netherlands, and the interesting thing about him is that he doesn't really have much of a GT racing background. He made his first GT racing start this year that I could found. He did the Dubai 24 Hours also in a Mercedes. But he finished 25th, I believe, in Italian F4 last year. Yes, it was 25th position. He finished 25th in Italian F4 in 2024 and 26th in Spanish F4 the previous year, if memory serves me correctly. So, very young driver coming from F4 with no sports car experience, really, aside from his Dubai 24 Hours start.
Which,
now on the lineup for Iron Lynx in the World Endurance Championship. I find that quite interesting.
which leads me to think one of 2 things. One, he has some money.
I suspect quite a lot of money.
Or
Yeah.
2, he's one of Iron Lynx's development drivers.
But I haven't been able to find any previous link between Iron Lynx. There's no previous links between Iron Lynx and this guy before now. Thank you very much for your round of applause.
Well, whenever you see someone that young, that inexperienced, and I mean this with the utmost respect, but unnoteworthy driver coming out of a regional Formula 4 championship, it usually means they have quite a lot of backing, which, like, fair enough. If you have it, then why not use it? But, like, I was just doing some research to try to find where he actually gets his money from. There's nothing obvious. I don't see any, like, his dad was the founder of Egypt or whatever. I don't know. Like,
Wonder of Egypt.
sorry, I'm
He
making
doesn't have any ties to oligarchs.
doesn't have any ties to pharaohs.
The
Sorry,
founder of Egypt.
my brain is not working today. I was trying to think of a big company that would, like, make sense, where it's like, oh yes, if you founded that company, you would have a lot of money. And I was
So
thinking,
you
like,
thought of Egypt.
yes, and I was thinking, like, Google, Microsoft. No, but that's too obvious. Like everyone knows who the founder of those companies are. Who else has a lot of money? Egypt. Let's.
The country of Egypt. Egypt Incorporated.
I'm so sorry. Like I, yeah, I'm not doing well today. But no, I was trying to find out. My point is, I was trying to find out where he gets his money from, and it's nothing obvious. But I would not be surprised if there is more that comes out about that.
Linhodenius, Dutch driver, heir apparent to the throne of Egypt. This
I'm
is
sorry, my brain is not working today. This.
okay. There we go. So those are the two lineups. I think the liveries looked fantastic. They were revealed on social media throughout the week. A couple of very, very good looking cars as well, and you can go have a look at that in your own time. That is effectively all of the team and driver news from the WEC this week. It has been quite interesting. The silly season, you wouldn't be expecting silly season stuff to really be happening in motorsport at this sort of stage, but there you go. It is happening there. We're very close to the start of the WEC, and I suspect we'll have a proper WEC preview coming for you on the show in the next couple of weeks. Should we move on to some Daytona 500 stuff?
Yes.
Chris, would you like to take us through this one?
Oh, yes, I would. So, the Daytona 500 is this weekend. This is Speed Week. Tonight is actually pole day for the Daytona 500, and they had a practice session this morning. And both cars from Spire Motorsports of Justin Haley in the number 7, Gainbridge Chevrolet, and Michael McDowell in the number 71, or 77. Does anyone have a program? Did not turn a lap in practice, focusing on qualifying. Now, the top 3 in qualifying practice was a bit of a Toyota benefit. Denny Hamlin setting the fastest lap at 187.480 miles an hour, followed by Bubba Wallace in the McDonald's Toyota at 186.916, and Ty Gibbs in the Monster Energy Toyota, number 54, setting a lap of 186.370. Now, as far as the race to get into the Daytona 500, the go or go home cars, of which there are 9 go or go homers, racing for 5 positions in the starting field. Chandler Smith was actually the fastest of the go or go home cars. An impressive 4th overall, driving for Motorsport Business Management in the Quick Tie Ford at 186.177. The 41st starter, Elio Castro Neves, was 12th in the Wendy's Chevrolet, number 91, at 183.460. Martin Truex Jr. in the Bass Pro Shops, number 56 Toyota, was 31st fastest. Crucially, 3rd of the go or go homers, at 182.208. And Jimmy Johnson was 32nd at 182.028 miles an hour. Now, there is a bubble. Now, the bubble speed, as it stands right now, is 34th, 181.770, set by Tony Pasta, a.k.a. Anthony Alfredo. Followed by, that is 34th overall. Then we get the cars that are in a spot of bother at the moment of perhaps making the Daytona 500 or missing out. Those being Unfortunately, Justin Allgaier in the Traveler Whiskey Chevy, who is 36th overall at 181.708. Corey LaJoy, 41st in the Take 5 Oil Change Duramax Ford. The third Rick Ware entry, easy for me to say. 181.371. BJ McLeod, who I believe just got a sponsor this morning for his Hitch Go Chevrolet. 179.874, 42nd fastest. And JJ Yaley was the slowest of the cars that went out, 43rd at 179.669, the Green River Whiskey Chevrolet. And those four in particular are in deep, deep trouble of making the Daytona 500.
Chris, how does that actually work this year? Because last year we had, I believe, 6 cars trying to qualify, and 2, I think, went in through time, and then the others had to race their way in. I remember one very good race between Jimmy Johnson and JJ Yeley for the last spot. So how does that work this year with more cars?
Basically, because there is a 41st starting position. So if Helio Castroneves does time his way in, regardless of where he qualifies, he's in. He is the 41st starter for the Daytona 500. If he doesn't race his way in, he's already guaranteed a position. Although looking at his looking at his practice speed, he probably won't need it.
So sorry, Chris. Does that mean that Helio Castroneves is guaranteed to be making the race?
According
no matter what?
According to the new world class driver provisional, Daytona 500 is always confusing when it comes to its qualifying format.
I'm just thinking that makes Helio not really a go or go home car at all.
Well, it's an open car, so because the Project 91 is not one of the chartered teams in the sport, and there will probably be 41 cars on the grid for the Daytona 500. And basically 4 will go home of the 9 here, and
it won't be Helio.
Probably not. No, they are. Although I think it might go to one of the recent past champions, which might be either Martin Truex or Jimmy Johnson, but we'll just have to see we'll just have to see actually tomorrow what happens in the duel.
So there is still a chance that Helio won't qualify? I'm really confused.
No. Helio's in regardless of what happens, is my understanding.
Okay. Sorry, I'm really confused.
Helio Castroneves will start the Daytona 500, under any circumstances, unless there's, some multiversal disaster. If the race starts, so will he, provided that his car is actually running. So, there is one car among this sort of go home, or go big or go home list. That is what it is. The number 40 car, I was going to mention this later in the show, but Justin Allgaier, so this is the Junior Motorsport car, the number 40.
Yes.
So this is basically supposed to be the Cup Series debut for Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team.
Yes.
They've previously done Xfinity, they've done the Truck Series, they've done all that sort of stuff, and they've been hinting at a Cup Series start for years, but now it is supposed to be happening. So this team is a collaboration this entry into the Daytona 500 is a collaboration between obviously Junior Motorsports and singer, songwriter, and musician Chris Stapleton, as well as the Buffalo Trace Distillery, which that is sponsored by their whiskey brand. The aim is to get this car onto the grid for Junior Motorsports to make their Cup Series debut. However, by what you've just described, Chris, that looks very much in danger at the moment.
However, this is basically just single car runs. Where they're going to start will be determined tomorrow in both dual races, in which the top two from... Basically, there will be 4 locked in officially and Elio. Those who race their way in through either time trials or the duels, like if I'm Chandler Smith right now, I'd be very happy about where I'm gonna start my dual race, because if practice was anything to go by, that 186.177 mile per hour lap, no doubt, not just the fastest go or go home car, but also the fastest of the Fords. And this is a car. This is the Carl Long entry. And if you've watched the 3-part series of Rise of the Field Fillers on Carl Long, which I highly recommend watch, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Chandler does in this car. And Chandler's a quick peddler. He's a quick qualifier, and he's won a few Xfinity races as well. He's a pretty good shoe to put in for the speedways.
So Chandler Smith, not really looking like he's in any danger here, but I think those towards the bottom, so obviously the sort of people starting 36th, 41st, 42nd, 43rd, they realistically are relying on kind of a wreck happening up front to really sort of make their way forward. Otherwise, they're not.
Although in fairness, last year in the dual races, BJ McLeod nearly made the Daytona 500 in his dual race. Actually led a few laps in the duels last year in his all-black number 78. And were it not been for a moment late in the going, he would have made the show. He was the fastest. He was the highest placed of the open cars last year, and would have made the show. But unfortunately, he had a pit stop issue, and then I think he had an incident on track, which denied him of the field. But if I'm someone like Anthony Alfredo, Anthony Alfredo is probably going to have to rely on his speed. If he probably going to have to race his way in. But if I'm someone like Jimmy Johnson or Martin Truex, they know how to race their way in. But Justin Allgaier is very competent at driving on speedways. So I don't think he'll be at the back of the grid for long. I think he could possibly race his way in his dual race on Thursday. But yeah, it's actually either of these guys, except for Elio, who's already locked in, could possibly either make the show or miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like how the duels work. Actually, wasn't there one guy last year who ended up having his car damaged on a formation lap or whatever, rattled his way around slowly, and then someone up ahead crashed, and
that was Connor Daly.
I was gonna say I have
in the money team entry.
Because he made it to the stage where he could pit, and they repaired some of it, but the car still wasn't running great. But there was a wreck up ahead, and he ended up racing his way in. Yeah, so things like that can absolutely happen, and honestly, I think any of those drivers could start the race, because, as much as I'm not going to be one of those people who's like, oh, the Daytona 500 is just a raffle or whatever. There is a certain degree of luck to it, and I think that if you're in the show, you can win the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that Connor Daly story funny, because that is such a Connor Daly thing to happen. That is just the most Connor Daly thing. I think, was that his first go at the 500?
Yes, his only attempt, I believe.
Okay, is he not doing it this year?
Mm-mm.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay,
Mind
do we
you,
have
he's
any...
driving for Juncos Hollinger, I believe, in IndyCar.
I think that Connor Daly has always been quite hard done by. I feel like he could have better drives, but the opportunities just never really quite presented itself to him, unfortunately. Anyway, does anybody have anything more to say on the NASCAR front before we move on to some IndyCar news?
I predict Lightning McQueen is going to win it.
Very good. Very, very good. Okay, should we move on to some IndyCar news? And I think, Chris, again, this is something that you're very keen to talk about. Now, remember, maintain strong journalistic values here. We're not here to attack people.
Oh, this is not an attack at all. Penske Entertainment has appointed J. Douglas Bowles as the president of IndyCar. He will also continue his role running the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he replaces Jay Fry, who was released this week by CEO Mark Miles. Now, for those that don't know who Doug Bowles is, he is as I said, the head of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And he's done so many good things for the Speedway, and he is an absolute prince of a guy. Because remember a couple years ago at the 500 when Kyle Kirkwood crashed late in the race and a wheel actually went over the wall and hit a parked car? Yep.
Yeah, I remember this.
The car was driven by a track worker. The track worker, Doug Bowles, like I said,
really?
prince of a man. No.
Sorry.
Doug Bowles, like I said, prince of a man, gave this woman a car, a Corvette, mind you, for free. He paid for a car to replace the one that was hit.
What did she drive before?
It was an SUV or a pickup.
It was a Chevy Cruze.
Yeah. Sorry for randomly butting in. I thought you were saying it was Doug Bowles' car that got hit, and I was like, what are the chances of that? But
yeah.
No.
Well, hang on. Okay, right. So this is a tip to all of the Motorsport Recently Show listeners. If you would like a Corvette, you know where to park your car for this year's Indianapolis 500.
He also, I've actually read some stories elsewhere about Doug. There was a couple of fans who unfortunately lost a pair of AirPods. Doug Bowles, like I said, prince of a guy.
Bought them a Corvette.
Well, no. He actually went up in the grandstands in that little area underneath the bleachers and fished out the box where the AirPods came in and gave them back to the guys.
Nice.
He's also he's responsible for keeping Clifford the Big Red Truck, the Chevrolet S10, running at the Speedway, and also there's a video that went viral about a year ago, I think, where Doug actually hooked a line to the back of a truck, which I'm hoping was Clifford, and in the snow, he was water skiing and did a lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Oh, what a legend.
Like I said, prince of a guy, and honestly, the best hire that Roger Penske has done to date at the not just at the Speedway, but also the best thing that Roger Penske has done for IndyCar was put him in as president of IndyCar. And that's not taking away from anything Jay Fry's done. He's done a lot. But this guy here, Doug Bowles, I think that's a winning hire right there.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
See, the interesting thing I find here is that normally when the name Penske is involved in a news story, you go on an absolute rant.
That's
So-
why I mentioned this. That's why I
Exactly.
thought, like, that's why I said, like, keep it calm, cool, and collected for this week.
So
We haven't
Chris,
attracted a lawsuit just yet, so I think he's very
Yeah.
pleased with that one.
Well, he hasn't done anything yet.
Well,
So
no.
Chris,
Okay, never
do you have
mind.
anything to say for Mr. Penske?
No, we've
Credit
done
where
really
it's due.
well.
That was a good one. That was a great hire.
Right,
I
I would
live
have done
with
the
that.
same.
That's very good. So he was president of the, so he was basically running the speedway before his presidency. What was he doing before? What else has he done before then as a point of interest? If you know.
I believe he actually was a crew member for Panther Racing, if I remember correctly, in the IRL. There's and I just want to say there's actually this video where Doug is being introduced and he's saying like his title of president of IndyCar and IMS. He just giddy and humble, like, and he said like, that's a weird thing to say. That's the first time me saying it. Like, the man is humble, and
That's great.
and he knows this sport, and that is honestly one of the best hires that Roger Penske has done in IndyCar. Fabulous.
Doug Bowles would be. Sorry, Doug Bowles would be a great name. Who's going first, Jack? You or me? You call
No,
a shot.
you go. You say your bit.
It's a dumb bit anyway. I was saying, Doug Bowles would be a great name for an archaeologist who just can't stop digging up pottery. He just,
Oh my god.
Doug Bowles again. I can't find anything else. Sorry. Carry on.
Hey,
Between
do
that
you want,
between
do
that
you
and
want
the
us to
Egypt
lose our
thing.
hard card? Do you want us to
Okay,
lose
okay.
our non-existent hard card?
So I've been doing some research whilst all of these calamities have been going on. So he wasn't just a crew member for Panther. He was a founding partner of Panther Racing.
Right, I remember that.
Served as co-owner and team chief operating officer from 1997 until early 2006. This is all from ALSD, by the way. And he's also he's also been part of like government initiatives to attract motorsports companies and jobs. So he's done a lot for racing. I can see why you like this guy, Chris. That sounds like an absolutely fantastic hire.
And the best is, he's humble. Like, he's not like arrogant or like repressive or anything. He's very progressive in his thinking. Like, he wants the sport to grow. Like, the people like Mark Miles, they don't want the sport to grow that much. Like, Doug Bowles does, and he's a great hire, and I think this is the best they've done since Penske took over the organization. Honestly,
Credit to them.
I can't wait to see what he does.
We do have some other IndyCar news as well. This is a slightly less significant point, but we have some Chip Ganassi liveries that have been unveiled during the week.
The entries for Kiffin Simpson, the Journey Rewards Honda, the number 8, Old Dixie, Scott Dixon in the PNC Bank Honda, and old 3-time Alex Palou in the DHL Honda. And I've seen all 3, but I'm gonna focus on the number 8.
I can see why you're focusing on the number 8, because that is the one that is the most radically different to anything that Chip Ganassi's really done in recent years.
Well, for one thing, it looks like a a knockoff of the 1999 Zipper livery from BAR, and the it's definitely, of all of the liveries that have ever happened in racing, this is one of them. This is certainly one of them.
This is one of the liveries of all time.
One of the liveries of all time, yes. And
I'm surprised you haven't made a Journey reference yet.
well, I'm a Journey Rewards member, if that's what you mean.
I was gonna maybe reference a Journey song, because Don't Stop Believing that this is one of the liveries of all time.
You what?
Never mind, carry on.
You just had to love, touch, and squeeze that reference, didn't you?
Goodness me.
Another Journey song.
Yes, there we go. That was a stretch. That reference was a stretch, right? Continue.
Na 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 na.
Sorry, I'm just trying to work out why. First of all, why you put "Don't Stop Believing" in that, and second of all, why you thought it would be so obvious that Chris would also come up with it. Like, I don't
wait a
get
minute.
I don't get any of what's going on right now.
You've never
Well,
listened to Journey before.
Don't Stop
I do.
Believing is a song by Journey.
I know,
It's their
but like,
biggest
what's that
hit.
got to do? I know the song. I've sang it in karaoke, but like, what's that got to do with
Because
anything?
the car says Journey on it.
The car is
Oh.
sponsored by Journey Rewards,
Okay, that would explain it. Never mind.
which, by the way, I'm also a member of. It's
What
also
is
tied.
it?
It's also tied to my Aeroplan.
So wait. So Journey Rewards. What actually is this company?
It's a rewards based system that was started in Canada, I believe. That was started here in Canada. That you can basically, it's like a gas card, but you can also tie
Okay.
it to Uber and like Uber and Uber Eats, your gasoline, and also Aeroplan if you want to take a flight, like your
Nice.
Air Canada Aeroplan miles.
Yeah.
Basically tie it to that, and you can also get like rewards on groceries and everything, and the like, and yeah, it's but yeah, but you can all see the resemblance to the BAR, right?
I understand what you mean, because it's certainly divided up. It's divided up into sections, the livery. I have to say, though, it is certainly different to really any other livery that Chip Ganassi's had in recent years, particularly on the number 8, because we've previously had the Be The One livery, the blue and white livery. We've had the Husky chocolate livery on the side of this car as well.
Which they never sold in North America.
Which they never sold in North America as well. Funnily enough, I suppose that's testament to the Swedish audience of IndyCar. But yeah, very, very different livery. I would say that the other two cars, the DHL car and the PNC Bank car, they're more or less the same as they have been in recent years.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple of tweaks to those, but there's nothing really hugely
Can't have too
radical
much
on
of a good
that
thing.
front. No, yeah, I mean they're great liveries, so why change them?
And Murray Walker actually had a great he in this particular reference he was talking about the 98 Williams and the 98 Ferrari.
Oh yeah.
Like how the Ferrari looks so nice and neat and clean, whereas the Kiffin, like the 9 and the 10 look so nice and neat and clean. The 8 looks as though they've loaded a lot of names and logos into a can and then fired it at the car.
Yeah,
I do see like hints of 98 Williams in this livery, actually, I have to say. Looking at it now, you can see that there's not influence, but like certainly similarity.
See, you guys are talking about the zipper and stuff. I'm seeing the colours from like 92 Brabham or whatever. Like, I don't know.
There's no pink?
No, but it's like, I don't know.
It is a bit of a pinky red, in fairness.
I don't know. It's just it's a little bit of a mess, but I think it's going to look decent on track. Plus, it's
I mean,
it's
it
IndyCar,
looks...
so the livery is going to change as the season goes on anyway.
I mean, it
probably
looks great in the dark.
Well, it's good that IndyCar has so many night races. Do we have any night races on the calendar this year, or are they all day races?
I think they're all day races. Also,
Okay.
nobody got my SMDH. Nobody got my my little blanket slam of the livery.
No, yes,
Like,
looks good
it
in
does
the
look
dark,
great
yeah.
in the dark.
Okay, I see what you're going for now. You're just operating on an entirely different level to the rest of us. I think to most people in the entire world. Okay, I think we need to move it on because
I've
it's
gotten
time.
more crusty with age.
Oh my goodness me! Right, it's time for what?
Miscellaneous stories and points that we missed and therefore recovering now. TM. Bing. There you go.
Jingle returning soon. We have a Formula One story to start us off. That's very timely considering we've just been talking about Williams to a certain extent. Caitlin, would you like to guide us through this one?
Yes, so for the first time in many, many years, Williams have a title sponsor. Ooh! It is a company that I've never heard of called Atlassian. But
Well, I know
despite-
Atlassian.
Atlassian?
Yeah, I have things. I have a strange connection to Atlassian, but continue.
Ooh, well, anyway, what I was going to say is, I think it's very strange that I've never heard of them, and yet Williams are describing it as their biggest ever partnership. And not only are they the title sponsor, but they are also going to be the. Let's see if I can find what they've officially said. But it's something like they are their software partners and technical partners as well. So it's not just a title sponsorship. They are actually going to be working together. It's not like one is just sending them money and then wishing them the best. This is a proper partnership between the two. And it actually means that McLaren is now the only team on the grid without an official title sponsor, which I also find quite interesting. But yes, obviously, Williams have had title sponsors in the past, but over the last couple of years have got most of their funding from kind of smaller sponsorships and the takeover from Doralton Capital. And finally, they do have a title sponsor in the form of Atlassian. Jack, who the heck are they?
Okay, so before I talk about Atlassian, I can tell you that Williams' last title sponsor was
Rocket,
in
right?
2019 with Rocket.
Yeah, Rocket.
And then the year before that, it was Williams Martini Racing, which is one of my favourite Formula One liveries. And one of my favourite liveries in general, because Martini have quite a substantial presence in motor racing and have done for many years. Here is my... Okay, I understand what one of their kind of sort of smaller organisation... Okay, so Atlassian is basically a technology company, and it sells technology, as is my understanding.
A technology company that sells technology.
Yeah,
I thought
okay,
they
okay,
sold
okay.
pots and pans.
So the bit that's coming back to me, so as part of my university degree, I did a class where we were basically pitching reimagined technology ideas to a company called Service Rocket. And Service Rocket is another company that implements Atlassian technology into other businesses. But I have heard of Atlassian before. They do technology things.
I've just looked them up and found out how you know them, and that is because they are Australian. So they are probably more prevalent where you are than where I am.
Well, in fairness, I hadn't actually heard of Atlassian until last year. But there you go. And yeah, so Atlassian. So Atlassian Williams Racing.
Indeed. I think this is great for Williams. I think that they have obviously been struggling for cash over the last couple of years, as shown by the Doralton Capital takeover. And I think this is exactly what they would have needed to to kickstart their reascent up the F1 ladder, and I'm just hoping that it works out well for them. Formula One needs Williams. There have been way too many manufacturers and corporate entities kind of taking over the world of Formula One, because obviously Formula One, there's a lot of money in it. And people like to cheer for the underdog, you know? We need people like Williams. So if they can get, if they can get their money and they can keep on racing, then surely that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, and I think sort of because of how popular Formula One is now, it doesn't matter which car that you've got sponsorship on, it gets your brand in front of millions of people. So I think that's certainly a good thing.
Just look at candy stove and ovens.
Or Parliament. That's another one.
Going way back for this, but yeah.
Parliament.
Okay.
Parliament, I always find that interesting. Parliament, yes.
Isn't it Parmalat?
I think it's Parmalat. I think you'll find it's Parmalat. Yeah. Yes.
What did I say?
Parliament.
Oh.
That's the pull quote.
Parmalat, yes. I have a T-shirt that has this logo on it. Oh, my phone's ringing. Hang on.
Of course. This is the pull quote.
This is a viewer tuning in to let Jack know he sucks.
Oh my god.
He can hear you.
On the cutting room floor. Okay. Right.
No, keep it in. That's actually... No, keep that in.
Right, I'll see what it's like in the edit. Right, shall we move on to another story? And we're talking about MotoGP again this week. Caitlin, would you like to tell us about this one?
Okay, so I think this tells you more about me than it does about MotoGP. So I was watching another MotoGP preseason test highlights video earlier, and I thought, I wonder if they've got anything that I can put in the podcast, because obviously, I'm on a podcast now, so I was thinking about this. And I noticed when I came to the show notes slide that there wasn't much written down. So I wrote, this is a note that I wrote down. Another MotoGP preseason test has taken place at Buriram in Thailand. I literally have nothing else to say about this, but you wanted points, so here you go.
Well, no, but there is a point though, because there's lap times that you can talk about. So it looks like
Marquez was top of the times again.
Yeah, he was, and then I think Alex Marquez has done pretty well throughout quite a bit of preseason testing as well. But yeah, you're right. I think so. Marquez was on top in the most recent test, followed by Alex Marquez. So that's two Ducatis on. Actually, yeah, Ducati have locked out the top three spots. So that's pretty impressive for them. Yeah, by quite a bit, actually. They've done really, really well. So there you go. There's some MotoGP preseason testing, and by the looks of things, Ducati are going to be pretty strong, as are the two Marquezes. So there you go.
I agree, but yes, I have to admit, I probably would not have put that in the notes if I had known we would have as much news as we had, so I think we should probably move on.
No, I do like a little bit of MotoGP news from time to time. It's about time I started properly keeping up with it. Now, who wants to talk about Toyota?
Yes, I'll do that, because I'm very happy about this one. They have announced their driver development lineup for 2025. And they are Jade Avedizian, Brent Cruz, Jacob Denny, Taylor Gray, Corey Heim, Buddy Kofoid, Tannen McIntosh, Kiko Porto, Isabella Robusto, Gio Ruggiero, William Sawalich, Tyler Gonzalez, Gresham Wagner, and Weston Workman.
Okay. Well, first of all, sorry, the name Gresham Wagner stands out to me. He's been racing in the Mazda MX-5 Cup. He's brilliant.
Yeah, that's right.
But sorry,
yeah.
Was there a guy? Did you say Cannon McIntosh?
Cannon McIntosh.
That's two technology companies combined into one name.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Sorry though. Aside from the obvious technological implications, what a brilliant name Canon is. Oh my goodness. Anyway,
Canon
sorry.
Macintosh. She sounds like a stunt driver.
I was watching a documentary yesterday, and there was a criminal being interviewed, and his name, and this is genuinely his name was Harley Davidson Ironwing.
That
And I'm
is
like,
amazing.
what on earth? Anyway, but yeah, Canon Macintosh. Okay, carry on.
Yeah. Yes.
So, there are three representatives from the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup, presented by Michelin. They are Tyler Gonzalez, Gresham Wagner, and Weston Workman, who are three very talented individuals, let me tell you.
Tyler Gonzalez, he won the first race at Daytona, didn't he?
I believe he did, yes.
Yeah, he did. And then he was taken out in that massive crash
Yes.
the day after, I seem to remember. So
And,
very, very mixed Daytona.
And, like, I'm glad that they're acknowledging MX-5 Cup as part of the ladder system. Like, as far as the others go, Buddy Kofoid is a very competent driver on dirt, specifically sprint and midget cars. Isabella Robusto has impressed driving for Billy Venturini in the ARCA series. William Sawalich is the ARCA champion from this year, and ARCA East champion, if I remember correctly. And, like, this is just a stacked lineup. As far as Toyota goes, and apparently Jade is a very talented young driver. In a late model. She does some good racing there, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they do. And
Fair enough.
I'm just wondering if and Corey Heim actually has some cup racing experience, because he filled in for at Dover actually when I think he was in the Dover race last year when Eric Jones was injured, I believe, in like
That rings a bell, yeah.
yeah. So he has cup experience, and Taylor Gray's pretty talented as well, and yeah,
I think some of the I think this is a very interesting lineup, particularly with the addition of Wagner to the lineup as well. So most of the drivers, first and foremost, I think the Toyota development ladder has become immensely appealing, particularly as of late, since its involvement with Haas. I think that was sort of part of them getting at least equaling Honda's development program because of the Formula One connection. Most of the ages on this range from about 18 to sort of 23. We've got Cruz, who's 16. Interestingly, Wagner, 27, part of the development lineup. That's quite old to be part of a junior program.
And Gresham Wagner is actually what I consider to be one of the lifers of the MX-5 Cup. Like he's a bit like a Jared Thomas type, where he's making a good career running just MX-5s, and you can make a pretty good living that way.
I remember John Hindhaugh saying, I think he's described it this way a number of times, but that the MX-5 Cup is not just a feeder series, it's a destination championship. Mm-hmm. And I think that's mainly because of the amount of prize money that can actually be won by doing well in that series.
Well, yeah,
you can... Yeah.
I think the champion gets like 200,000?
200,000, yeah, that sounds about right, yeah. Okay, that's all very exciting. I think we should probably move on to a little bit of NASCAR Xfinity news. Although I do understand that the Xfinity title sponsor is being dropped relatively soon for Xfinity.
At the end of the 2025 season, NASCAR and Xfinity. It will not be the title sponsor of the series anymore. It will, however, stay as a partner.
And it will be the title sponsor of the fastest lap point this year in the Cup Series, funnily enough. But okay, yeah, so that's not where actually what we're actually talking about.
And it's Xfinity high-speed internet. Or, sorry, great. I just realized. They're gonna have people interview and say, oh, I was faster than Xfinity high-speed internet.
Although, but it's surely to promote the sponsor, they'd want to say, I wasn't quite as fast as Xfinity high-speed internet. Available now.
I've heard that before.
Other internet providers are available, by the way. Okay, yeah, so we should probably talk about what we're actually trying to talk about with the Xfinity series. What is the story that is broken this week?
So the CW, the new partner for the Xfinity series on the television side of things, has unveiled their new graphics package for the Xfinity series. And among the changes are because they did a preview, actually. They have an F1 style position board at the bottom of the screen. Like an old 90s F1 style, like...
Oh, you mean the scrolling thing? The thing that scrolls from right to left?
Yes. The ticker.
Well, I feel like that's less of a Formula 1 style thing now. I feel like that's most often used in sports cars these days, particularly IMSA.
Well, in this...
Formula 1's not had that for a long time.
In this case, it's basically a... Let me see if I can look at them.
I do remember Formula 1 having that when I was a kid, though, so you have just set off my nostalgia.
Yeah, there you go. I also remember Formula 1's graphics used to count down from the last lap to the first, which is very strange. But
yes, that was an ITV thing, I think. And you can see that on my latest episode of Random F1 Race. There. I will promote my own series correctly someday, but yes.
Yeah, link to Caitlin's channel in the description below. Okay, so yes, new broadcast style for the Xfinity series. It's very exciting.
It actually looks pretty good as well. Like, I was looking at the preview for it, and it actually doesn't look too bad. It, it's on the bottom of the screen, which is, a change from normal, like, because normally it's either a vertical pylon on the left of the screen, or a horizontal on the top of the screen. But it has the accurate number fonts, and it'll have the accurate number fonts. Doesn't look like any colors, any color coding for it, but I think it actually looks rather nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's excuses for bad graphic design in modern broadcasting. Not these days.
Did you see Fox's Super Bowl ticker? Oy, gewalt. Like,
I still need to watch the highlights of the Super Bowl. I know the winner, but I haven't seen the game.
Well, we'll talk about that after that, but yeah.
Right, I think we need to talk about some sports cars, because we mentioned this story earlier in the episode, and that is related to the start time of the Qatar 812, the WEC season opener. So the start time has been adjusted, so please make a note of that. If you want to catch this race live, it will be starting at 2 p.m. local time on Friday at Qatar.
And the statement is... there was a statement released by FIA WEC as to the reason. In recognition of the cultural and religious considerations, and in light of the race timing relative to the start of Ramadan, a decision has been made to adjust the start time of the Qatar 1812 kilometer. We deeply appreciate the understanding and support of our teams, fans, and stakeholders, as we make these adjustments in respect of the host community's values.
I'm surprised that that's taken until like a week and a half before the race to actually adjust.
Like
You'd have thought they'd have taken that into consideration in the first place, but
Actually, I think it's a little bit more than a week and a half. Sorry,
it's February the 28th, which is a Friday. 28th. If I may.
So we're at the time of recording this episode, we're a little over 2 weeks away from the start of the season. But the preseason testing is next weekend.
Yeah,
so
it is. It will go from 2 p.m. local time and run to midnight.
So what we'll probably do then is either next week or the week after will be our World Endurance Championship preview. And then one of those weeks will probably be our Formula One livery reveal episode. It will be one of those things. We will figure that out. Okay, IMSA, Kaku Ota, who made his IMSA debut at the Rolex 24 at Daytona with Meyer Shank Racing in the Acura, has confirmed a further LMP2 program in IMSA, and he will be joining Era Motorsport for both Sebring and Road America. Kaku Ota, obviously a Honda factory driver.
Who impressed a lot of people at Daytona.
Yeah, he certainly did, I have to say.
Good for Era. I think it might actually be because they could... I think they might be going to be with Honda. That's my theory anyway. I don't know if that's true, but...
I read that Era Motorsport has previous ties to Acura.
Yes.
So that's where that connection sort of come in. But yeah, I think that's a great addition to that lineup, actually. That'll be fantastic. And it's good to see that Kaku Ota will be getting some more running in North America. Listener comments. Let's talk about those to end this
Speaking
episode.
of which...
Oh, no, it's not speaking of which. But yes,
Love
speaking of which, that is true. Okay, right, so we start off with a comment from FQ Eagles 21, who kept it short and sweet, saying that you deserve more views. Thank you very much, FQ Eagles 21. And I'm assuming the Eagles, Chris giving his love heart, there you go. I'm assuming Eagles refers to the Philadelphia Eagles, in which case I'm assuming you're very happy, although we're not sure. So please write to us and let us know the origin of that name, if you ever so please. We also have one more comment. Robin Tails Fighter, regular contributor to the show's comment section. Hello again. He's given us a couple of talking points that we mentioned in the last episode. So we were talking about whether or not Valentino Rossi would be able to drive a hypercar. And he said that he reminded us that Rossi is a silver. He might not have the license for the WEC hypercar class, but he could theoretically still enter the IMSA GTP class.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that Ben Keating drove the GTP car at Daytona in 2024, and he is a bronze-rated driver after all. So that was with JDC in the 963, which I seem to...
in the banana boat.
To remember. So that was... very eagle-eyed of Robin Tails Fighter. He also mentioned that Isotta Fraschini actually did have a hybrid system. That was a slight mistake on my part.
I forgot about that.
I forgot as well.
I genuinely forgot. I thought they were one of the ones that didn't have a... I thought they were one of the privateer entries that did, but then I remembered, like, oh, right, they did.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the exact same thing, because to be honest with you, I've always just associated privateer equals non-hybrid, but that's actually not correct. So sometimes we forget things, and especially with their absence from the WEC now, it is slightly difficult to remember the fact that they did actually have a hybrid system, but that is a very good point. Robin Tails Fighter also said that Prema were involved with the Lambo program. There was a little bit of a dispute about this last week, and he said they ran technical support for Iron Lynx. So I knew there was a connection there somewhere. He ends his comment with saying, sorry for the amount of details I keep pointing out, lol. Please keep pointing them out, because sometimes we forget things, and it's always nice to be able to address those later, and your comments are always very much appreciated.
Robin Tails fighter, friend of the show. I think we should have Robin Tails fighter on the show one of these days.
Perhaps we should. He did actually ask me the other day if I would like. So he's doing, I think, a little Toyota GT86 series, and I think that's going to be a stop motion series. And he was asking me about what livery I would like and what race number to have the channel represented in that little series. So that was great, and I've presented my idea for a contribution to that one. So that was very exciting.
I can't wait to see that.
There we go. I'm sure we'll talk about that when that happens. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this week's show. Please enjoy all of the racing that is set to come in the next couple of weeks. We've got Daytona 500 this weekend, actually, so please enjoy that. I hope everybody enjoyed the Super Bowl, and I hope that everybody else is enjoying their various things that they've got going on. We should have a new race helmet on the stand behind me, as I mentioned at the top of the show. My name has been Jack McKenzie, and I've been joined, as usual, by the wonderful Chris Whitfield and Caitlin Penny commentary. Please like, subscribe to the YouTube video, and please leave a 5-star review and comments on the Spotify if you are listening on Spotify. But that is all from us. Till next time, we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ra.